In this video, I'll share with you exactly how anyone can land a remote sales job without any previous experience whatsoever. I'll give you literally the exact step-by-step blueprint that I used as a 19-year-old to be able to get into this industry, start making my first 10K a month, and that I've now used to get into remote sales roles where I made well over multiple six figures online and built a life of complete freedom for myself. And not only for myself, but also multiple other guys have used this exact same principle and this blueprint I'm going to share with you to build a life of complete freedom for themselves. And it's not going to be like your typical video of like, yeah, you need to be motivated, you need to work hard, you need to, and like sit here and like tell you about all these like sales tips and like sales techniques. I'm not going to do that, I promise you. I'm just going to get straight to the point, give you the exact blueprint of what actually matters for you to go out there, land a remote sales role, make a lot of money, and get a lot of freedom for yourself. So hopefully you can get to a point in the next couple of months where you can be out in the Colombian forest on a random like Wednesday afternoon and just like fuck around with your friends and have fun. So let's dive into it. First thing is that these things that you see on the screen right now, the things that you think that you need to actually succeed in remote sales and land a sales role and things like that, those are complete BS. And here's what I mean by that. First thing, you don't need to quit your job. I get so many people ask me about this, like, Alex, do I need to quit my job in order to get into remote sales? Short answer is you don't need to do that. And in most cases, I wouldn't even recommend that you do that. Because the thing is that you need to understand that you can get into remote sales. You can start learning this industry and start getting into your first role while literally putting in like 10 to 15 hours per week. I work with multiple guys that come into this with no previous experience. They go through the learning process of getting trained up and understanding the industry. And they don't put in more than 10 or 15 hours per week while doing it, which means you can keep doing your current job. You don't need to take the crazy risk and like be this crazy risk-taking entrepreneur if you don't want to. You know, you can keep your current job if you have like bills to pay, maybe you have a family or wherever it is, you know, wherever stage you're at. You don't need to take that risk of quitting your job. I prefer doing that because I think it's kind of forces you to go all in, and that's what I did personally. Like I went all in with this when I got into remote sales. But you don't need to do that. You can start it with a couple hours per week while still in your current job. Second thing here is you don't need whatsoever any degree. Like degrees completely useless in this industry, to be honest. Like no one is ever gonna ask you about your business degree or like what college you went to. And sales experience is not required either whatsoever. And to give an example here, because I remember my first interview that I was inside of this industry, you know, when I was interviewing for my first remote sales role. I was on this call. I was 19 years old, living with my parents at the time back in Sweden. And I was really, really broke and just failed with multiple different businesses. I remember being on that call and I was literally on the call with probably like 10 or 15 other guys. And most of these guys were like in their 30s or even 40s. They had like 20 plus years of sales experience, literally sold for millions of dollars. And I remember being on that call, like me speaking, like kind of, my English wasn't great because I'm Swedish, if you didn't know. And it was super insecure. I was super, like really, really scared of like these other like guys, pretty like intimidated by these sales beasts, you know, that I was on the call with. And I was able to land that role because I used the principles I'm going to share with you in the next couple of slides in this video. I was able to literally stand out from people that had so much more experience than me, land a role because I followed a specific set of principles on my call that matters more than anything else. And if you just follow these principles, I'm going to share with you in just a second, so be patient for that. You will be able to stand out from people that have literally 10 times or 100 times the experience that you have. So, and no one else really talks about this online, which is why I'm making this video as well, to really like share this with you. And you don't need to be a sales expert either. You don't need to be like have this crazy experience, have any sales calls that you take in and things like that. You don't need to be an extrovert for this to work. I'm pretty introverted myself and it's worked like totally fine. I honestly think that it's better if you're kind of introverted, because if you get into this industry and you're kind of introverted, you're more likely to kind of connect deeper with people on a one-on-one setting. And you never need to have actually taken any real sales calls. What you do need though, and the keys to actually succeed in this are the following here. First off, what you don't need to be a sales expert, but you need to have a basic understanding of sales principles. Basically what you need to understand is you need to have like a rough idea of like what to actually look for when you're on a sales call. Understanding that sales is all about basically showing someone else that you can solve a problem. Business comes down to solving problems. You know, that's what business is in general. And if you're in sales, basically what your job is to show someone else that you can help them solve a problem. And the way that you can show someone you can help them solve a problem, super, super simple. You need to first off understand clearly what their problem is, and then basically position your solution, aka the offer, whatever you're selling, as the solution to their problem. If you just do those two things, you'll make a lot of money in this industry, and that's really like all you need to understand to actually be able to get into a role. If you can understand that and actually apply that, you are good to actually start working in this industry in an entry-level position. So that's the first thing, understand the sales principles, and then before you can actually get into a position, you also need to practice that over and over again until you get confident in it. And that's a big thing I see a lot of people skip, and why a lot of people struggle to get into sales, is they understand the sales principles. They understand like what to say on calls and like what to actually do, but they haven't practiced enough. And because of that, they show up to calls and like they show up to interviews basically, and they're doing outreach trying to land sales roles, but they're not confident enough to actually get into a role. They can't really show up and be certain and like actually show leadership on their calls and things like that, because they're kind of insecure and like they sound insecure in how they speak on their calls and things like that. So that's super important. You need to learn the sales principles, but you also need to practice it. And how you do that is basically just by meeting up with other people, friends, family members, and it's other people around you that you can just practice your sales skills with until you get really confident in it. That's step number 2. Third thing here is you need to be hungry. If you as a beginner without any sales experience want to actually land a good sales role, you need to be able to demonstrate to the person that's interviewing you, like on an actual interview with a business, that you are hungry, that you want that role. It's one of the biggest things, like by far, that allowed me to land the sales roles that I've landed and make the money that I've made in this industry. Basically showing to businesses that I want this, that I'm going to work harder than the other people on the call, that I'm going to go the extra step. I'm going to ask to get my calls reviewed a bit more. I'm going to ask for feedback from the business owner. I'm going to work an hour more every single day. I'm going to go a bit further than everyone else because I want this more than other people. If you can showcase that, like how you speak, your energy, how you come across, you will land roles. You need to also be coachable and basically showcase on your interviews when you're reaching out to businesses and talking with business owners that you are someone who's willing to take feedback, that you're going to implement on the feedback. Because you need to understand that in sales is a very, very, like you have a very tight feedback loop. If you're coachable and if you're someone who's willing to take feedback, you can go from being shit to being good at sales very, very quickly. Because when you're actually in a sales role and you're actually doing sales, you can actually make improvements on a daily basis. You can have a call in the morning, have someone give you feedback in the afternoon, implement that feedback, and then come back next day and be way better and never make that mistake again. Because your ability to get feedback and improve is so quickly because you're working in this very like high-paced environment. You can get your calls recorded and get feedback on them on a daily basis. So you just need to understand for right now, you just need to be very, very coachable and like be able to take in feedback. That's a key trait in successful salespeople. And then, like I said before, constantly be the one looking to go further. If you're in an interview with like 10 different people, you need to understand that the guys that have all the sales experience, the guys that have been in sales for the last like 10, 20 years, what they have is they have a huge track record. What they don't have is they don't have that like need to prove themselves. Because they have already proved themselves. They already have this crazy track record that you don't have. Which means that your main selling point, the main reason, this is probably the most important thing I'm going to cover in this video, the main reason why a business owner would pick you over those other guys is because of exactly that. It's because you have the experience, or not the experience, you have the drive, you have the need to prove yourself. That's what you have that they don't. You need to push that as much as possible and basically sell the business owner on that being the reason why they should hire you, because you need to prove yourself. You have nothing to lose, you have everything to prove with the business. So what that means, basically showing that you'll be taking another call, you will be pushing yourself a bit further, working a couple of extra hours, making extra, like asking for extra feedback, seeking out, asking questions, being the one that's most hungry to grow and bringing that energy onto the team. That's super attractive for all these business owners in this industry. And that's a big reason why I was able to succeed in this industry as well. How to actually land the job, now you know the principles. Now you need to know what to actually need to like showcase on the calls to be able to actually go through interview process and actually land a role. I give you the frameworks in the slides right now. And if you missed anything, or if you're like halfway asleep in this video, go back, rewatch it. But those are the most important principles. But what do you actually do now? Like, what do you actually go about doing after watching this video to actually go out and land the sales role. First off, understand that gonna have to go into the process of just locking in for the next couple of months. Maybe it's gonna be 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year, where you're gonna have to just lock the fuck in. Stop. I don't know, stop hanging out with your friends every single weekend, stop going out partying, stop going to all these like family and like friends parties and all that stuff. Maybe stop going out with like girls and doing all this dating stuff. Just lock in for a couple of months to really dial this stuff in, really learn the sales principles, practice this stuff, start doing your outreach. And that's kind of like a given thing that we didn't really mention too much in this video. But for all of this stuff to work, you need to be locked in and is focusing on the inputs. None of this stuff is going to work. And none of this stuff is even going to be useful unless you're doing your outreach, unless you're reaching out to businesses to actually work for. And obviously, like this entire process is going to go way, way faster if you have mentorship. But regardless, understand that like you're going into a season right now that's literally going to have the potential to change the rest of your life. If you watch this video to the end and you're here right now and you take action on this stuff, you go out, you start doing outreach, you stay consistent, you do 5, 10, 20 outreaches every single day. You go on Instagram, on email, you go on Facebook, wherever it is, and like reach out to businesses on a consistent basis, keep that going. And you apply these principles that I just told you on like how to actually interview with businesses. Your likelihood of getting a role in the next couple of weeks is very, very high. Especially if you can show up with that energy and really like internalize this energy of like, I am going to show up, I'm going to be hungry, I'm going to perform, I'm going to go one step further than everyone else. If you can show up that way and just commit to it, you will win. But it's all only possible if you start looking from this more long-term perspective. Because the truth is, you're not going to get rich in the next 6 to 12 months. This is a long-term game. And the reason why I was able to get good results in sales was because I looked at this as like a 3 to 5 year game. I didn't get into sales to just do this for 6 months, make 10K some months, and then quit. I went into this realizing like this is going to be a long-term thing. I'm in this for the long term. I'm going to do this for the next 3 to 5 years, get really freaking good at the skill set. And that's how I'm going to make a lot of money for the rest of my life. If you can make that shift and just look at this from a more long-term perspective and stop doing this like, I'm trying to get rich in the next 90 days. And instead just extend your time horizon and just commit to the inputs of getting better, reaching out to businesses, and just showing how hungry you are to the businesses, you will land a role. And if you want help with this stuff and just like speed up this process and not have to go through all this like pain, trial, error, because obviously there's a lot more to this. In this video, I'm giving you some like high level advice on kind of like what to do, how to think, and things like that. But if you want like my one-on-one coaching, my hand holding to just like speed this up and get to the point where you're working with a business way, way faster, I've helped multiple young guys. I literally had a 19-year-old a couple of weeks ago, literally land a role in 2 weeks of working with me. So if you want help to speed up this process, get into a business like ASAP in literally the next like 1 to 3 weeks. And if you're also ready to work hard, you're committed, you're not someone who's looking for just handouts, I have a one-on-one mentorship where I basically just help you get into this industry and make a lot of money doing this. So if you want my help with doing that, click the link down below, book a call with me, we'll hop on, we'll chat. It's not going to be a high-pressure sales call whatsoever. It's going to chat, see if we vibe, see if you can actually, it could be a good fit for my program and actually help you out get into your goals. So if you want help with that, if you're interested in my one-on-one coaching, click the link down below, book the call. I'm happy to chat with you and see if I can actually help you out one-on-one. And thanks for watching this video. Take action on this stuff. It can truly change your life, just like it did for me. If you have any questions, DM me on Instagram. I reply to all DMs over there. Keep crushing it. Let's get some freedom for yourself and stay hungry, guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Ciao.